Alright, so this is war number 5 against Legion. This time my team is Shuri, Quicksilver, and Red Magneto. This war consists of 9 fights. So we start with the Kitty Pryde on part 6, aggression, prowess, and critical setup. I will be using Shuri on this fight, and I will also be dying on this fight because of one slight mistake, which I will be explaining once the fight starts. So initially my plan was to use a parry heavy so that I get the armor and then I can just remove the prowesses. But this is where I make the mistake, which is use a special one. And the other lethal mistake which I make is do a combo right after using my special one. And that just gives her a bunch of prowesses, because whenever it's a guaranteed crit, she gains +2 prowesses rather than just one prowess. So here we just make those prowesses out of control. And the third mistake which I made over here was not use an invulnerability boost, because I was kind of overconfident about this fight, or just thought this fight is gonna be quite simple with Shuri. But unfortunately we died, so we move on. We again heal up Shuri. So now after the fight I realized that was probably not the right plan for this fight. Sorry. So she goes down. Next up is Dr. Doom, and it's on aggression prowess again, and event flow knockdown, and also debuff immunity whenever they are knocked down. So with Quicksilver it's a fairly simple fight, and the plan for this fight is quite straightforward. Just get to his special 2 first, and then do a medium light medium into SP2, and that's how you have to do damage with Quicksilver on this node. We do eat a bunch of SP1s sometimes, so we do a medium light medium into SP2. It does around 60% damage, which is quite nice. So I need 2 rotations of that same thing, and right now I should have not hit him that much, because the fury is just about to expire and it's gonna purify all the debuffs. So again, since we just have 32% health left, we again build up another special 2, and again we use the same approach. Now I guess we do a parry, or maybe I'll bait this SP1 and then end up doing medium light medium into SP2, and yeah, the fight is over. So it was a fairly simple fight right after a silly death. So coming up is America Chavez on hazard shift, incinerate, and shock. I'm gonna use Shuri for this fight, and here the fight plan is quite simple, which is run max pacify and max iniquity, and hit once or twice during the stun, and in the incinerate phase, and during the shock phase just build up your shocks. And just one thing you have to be worried about is whenever your armor expires, it's gonna feed mystic dispersion, so just be prepared of that. And there's 2 advantages using Shuri for this fight, and if Shuri is awake obviously. So the first one is she's immune to dex, so you can do a lot of dexes without even worrying about MD that much. And also, in case America Chavez goes into her negative zone, that makes her SP2 unblockable, and awakened Shuri can block unblockables. So that's a fairly simple, that's quite advantageous in this fight, because at one point you intentionally or unintentionally you will be pushing America Chavez to a special 2. So Shuri's awakened ability comes in handy for this fight, and slowly we're gonna take this fight down, and like just try to do like a few hits during the incinerate part. And over here my shocks were just about to expire, and I just used a special one right on time so I can refresh all those shocks. I guess probably after like in this combo, yeah, she was dead. So next up is a Baron Zemo on Bubble Shield, Power Focus 2, and probably these are the unscared stiff. So I'm gonna use Red Max for this fight. So for this fight, I believe I was also running Max Petrify in case like whenever I do a parry heavy, he gains like less amount of power. So here the plan is just to use SP3 with max prowesses, and that's fairly simple. Like, and just try to like bait out SP1s if possible. And in case you push him to a special 2, you don't need to worry about it. And just take all those bullets on the block and takes the last part of it. So that like you don't get rooted. And sometimes like the ability accuracy reduction actually prevents the root from the node, which is quite good. And over here like I'm just gonna charge my heavies now, and with 40 browsers use special 3. So right after this SP3 I will be getting rooted, but I was also running power back boosts. So basically I had a special ready also, so that just made that fight a bit more easier at the end. So next up we go on to part 3 in section 2. So the first fight is a future Antman, which I'm gonna take with Red Magneto. This Antman is on chitinous thorns and sloped armor. So basically once you magnetize, you basically just have to parry heavy, and after the first armor he gains, he won't gain any armor throughout the fight. So that makes it a very simple fight, and just bait out SP once and try not to get hit like that. So I'm just gonna try and bait out SP once, because I could have pushed him to a special 2, but I just preferred using like just baiting out SP once. And we get hit again, and here the plan is simple, like get to a special 3 and just like use it with max prowesses. That's gonna kill him for sure. So I guess we are near to a special 3, and I'm also trying to charge my heavy so that like I gain more prowesses. And I guess after this parry heavy we just use a special 3, and I just don't care about like if he has been pushed to 2 bars of power, because this SP3 was surely gonna kill him. So that worked out well. So this next fight is Iron Dupe on the same sloped armor, and the node where making contact with them puts a shock debuff on you. So against Iron Doom, like it's a fairly simple fight, but sometimes like it can also it may also go wrong. So with Red Max here the plan is like just to parry and then hit him, but since we didn't parry over there, and we just did a heavy without a parry, we got a shock, and I don't can convert shocks to passive stuns, so that's the reason we got hit with the heavy over there. So that was bad. So so over here like I'm just trying to like get to a special 2, so that I can armor break him, so that I don't have to worry about those shocks anymore, and just try to refresh those armor debuffs. So we're kind of like, I'm doing a good job at this fight, but like the only problem I faced in this fight is that you cannot charge your heavy, because if you try to charge your heavy without a parry, uh, you don't multiply those prowesses, and you also gain an energy vulnerability debuff. So that's like the only thing which slows down the fight. So over here, once I charge my heavy, I didn't multiply my prowesses, and I get an energy vulnerability. So with like 10 prowesses, the SP3 damage is not gonna be that much, but the bleed damage would be sufficient enough to like kill him. So the fight went well. Next up is gonna be Terrax on burden of might and high energy diet. So before taking this fight, I just made sure that Quicksilver's whiplash damage is physical damage, so I don't have to worry about high energy diet anymore. So over here, like the plan was just to do a parry heavy initially and then build up to a special one, then use a special 2 in terminal velocity. So it's a fairly simple fight. Burden of might doesn't trigger because you're immune to dex, so you don't lose your power. And with max inequity, the rock field damage is not that bad, and you basically are healing up more than like you're losing health. So it's going well. Like I am near my terminal velocity, so I'm just waiting for terminal velocity, like to reach terminal velocity before using that SP2. And I guess after I beat this SP1, I'm gonna do a 4 hit combo into SP2, and once I multiply those whip flashes, that's it's just gonna take him down. So it was a fairly simple fight. I probably thought like it I might have troubles in this fight, but in the end it went well. So next up is Attuma on feat of vigilance and power efficiency, and also missing in action. So we get hit initially with Shuri, and over here the plan is quite simple. Like do probably 3 or 4 parry 5 hit combos, and then use a special one. But here I just did 2. So basically just try to build up your shock debuffs first, and then basically do a heavy attack so you convert those shock debuffs into critical shocks. And similarly, like try to ramp up your critical shocks so that uh, at one point you don't need to crit anymore, and you can just like use special tools and just take just like bring him down, because this way if you keep on spamming SP1s, the only problem is in case you in case like your armor buff expires, or you don't do a heavy attack or knockdown, or you're just gonna feed him a lot of prowesses. So after like ramping up my critical shocks, I believe I just went with a special 2, so that like with SP1 I may crit or I may not crit if I don't do a heavy. uh, but it's just like just to avoid those prowesses and further aggression prowesses, I just thought like SP2 approach would be a better call after putting a few critical shocks, so that just makes the fight a bit more easier. And this last fight was a Wong boss, which I kind of like played it completely wrong, and I made a lot of mistakes. uh, it was still a solo, but at one point I thought like maybe I might time out. So initially, like here also the plan is like try to get to 300 momentum first, so that I can put the slow on him, and once we do that, I don't have to worry about like beating heavy and like countering it because of that unstoppable. And if I keep a lot of withers up, I'm going to control that power gain he gets when he throws a heavy. So here the plan was also to use parry heavy somehow, but it didn't work out pretty well. So here basically I just try to use a special 2 first, and like try to build up my whiplashes, because if I use a special 2 in terminal velocity with a higher amount of whiplashes, I can basically like multiply more whiplashes. So that was my plan for this fight. So here I'm just gonna try and bait out SP1s, not SP2s. But the AI also was a bit weird. He was just not ready to throw heavy attack anywhere, and he was like throwing heavy attacks, but only when like I didn't want him to throw heavy attack. So that was a bit weird. So whenever you put a wither on him, you counter his spells. So you remove his spells whenever you put a new wither. So like his spells are also in control, and also like his power is in control, and also like everything is in control. And here I tried to do a dash back and like SP2, but nothing connected, and just because of that, like I couldn't reach a special one before my whiplashes would burst. So that's where I missed some part of my damage. And right after that, what you're gonna see is that I just lost like the whole control of the fight, and I was just doing whatever I felt was like right, and that was probably not the right call. And from this point onwards, I was just like doing whatever I felt was like right, and I was just not like going according to my own fight plan, like before like I was gonna start this fight. So that just kind of like elongated the fight. And at one point I just thought like I might be able to pull it off, but at one point I was like I might not be able to pull it off. So it was just way tough, like. So over here I do the same dash back into SP2 approach and terminal velocity, and he just blocks, which was very much frustrating. I was like I could have like finished this fight right here, but I just made like a very stupid mistake. I should have like baited a heavy and did a combo into SP2, but I don't know what I was doing in this fight. So here, I guess before terminal velocity ends, I'm gonna do a medium light medium into SP1, so I can at least burst out those whiplashes. And still, like he is not down. He is in the assassin's range, but now I lose the slow. I lose my wither, everything. Like I still have the wither, but like it's not helping me out finish the fight faster. So I'm again trying to build up my whiplashes at this point, and once I build up enough whiplashes, I'm just gonna do a medium light medium and hope for it to kill him. But this was still not enough, and I was like, okay, like he just has like 3% health left, so I should be able to take down 3% health in 30 seconds. So in the end, like we managed to clutch it out. It was just a very slow fight, but we still soloed it. So this was it for my war, and I'll see you in the next one.